Well, that was a movie.
Hello and welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon and this is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is, of course, starring the usual suspects, Ben Schwartz, Idris Elba. We added Keanu Reeves, Jim Carrey's back, because the script was written by an angel and handed to him or whatever. But Jeff Fowler also came back to direct, and so I've, of course, reviewed the other two already. But to recap the thoughts, I don't think any of them really have been like good movies, but they've been fairly entertaining movies.
Yeah.
I think I told you before the movie I enjoyed the second one more than the first one. Not because I thought necessarily it was a better movie, but because it kind of felt like they kind of cared less. Like they were just like, we're just gonna have some more fun, and that kind of freed them up to be more entertaining. And I thought like the jokes were better. But you just watched both the first two for the first time this week. How did you feel about them?
I enjoyed them enough. You know, I went in low expectations and came out pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Jokes were pretty funny at times. I preferred the first movie, not by an insane amount, but I liked the chemistry Sonic had with the main cop whose name will always escape me.
Tom,
yes.
played by James Marsden.
Oh.
He's unfortunately kind of gotten typecast into roles where he's with things that aren't actually there. Whether it's this or Hop or Enchanted, he's always alongside a little CGI animal, and I bet he's going insane slowly, and I feel sorry for him.
Listen, once you've done it well once, why not?
Yeah.
I did enjoy the additions of Knuckles and Tails in the second one, but I am a Shadow the Hedgehog fanboy, in all honesty.
Absolutely.
And
Me too.
I very much look forward to this one when I heard about his post-credit scene in the second one. Not enough to watch that movie, but enough to know that I was going to watch this one.
Yeah. Going back to the other two real quick before we get into this one, I understand why I'd like the first one more, because it definitely felt more, you said like the chemistry and stuff, like it felt like there was more care put into it. It definitely felt like, and especially this one, felt rushed as all hell. Like the CGI was not good. It felt like they just rushed this one a little bit more, and the first one seemed to have the most care attached to it, or the most effort, but I'm like, I'm not going to a Sonic movie for effort and like story and all of that. I just want to have a good time. Like you mentioned, the addition of the characters helps, and then of course you're excited for this one because me too, Shadow was always my favorite. I always cared the most about him. Honestly, watching the show, because I didn't really play a whole lot of video games. I played like the Sonic Mario Olympics or whatever, but the shows were really where I was interested in Sonic, and it wasn't because of Sonic, and it wasn't even really because of Knuckles, although I like Knuckles. It was always like, oh, I love Shadow, or Eggman. Eggman I've always been a fan of. And that, of course, is heightened by the addition of Jim Carrey playing him. And all of that coming together, to me, the third one was my favorite one by far.
Oh, yeah. I knew going in this was guaranteed to be my favorite one.
Yeah.
Now, I had the Shadow the Hedgehog game for Xbox. And my gosh, did I suck at that game. But did I love that game. And the beginning, the intro of Shadow, really gave me exactly what I was coming to this movie for. Really. And I will say, I did love pretty much every scene he was in, mostly just because of the nostalgia in me. But it never really gave it to me like his first scene. I guess it's kind of,
the introduction was really good. I will say also, you know how I feel, probably you guys know how I feel about Keanu Reeves. Not a fan. So when I heard you mentioned he's in the post-credit scene in the second one, I was stoked. My first thought, because I'm thinking like, who could they get to play this guy? And my first thought was Christian Bale would be fucking awesome. And I would hope he would do that, because it's the same kind of idea as like Idris Elba playing Knuckles, where you're getting a guy that's like way too serious for something like this, but if you can get him to buy it, it will be awesome.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, you know, Christian Bale's done some voice acting. He's in the Miyazaki movies whenever they get translated to English. And so I was like, he would be awesome for this. He's got that gruff voice and, you know, over serious delivery and stuff. That could be great. And then Keanu Reeves gets announced. Immediately I'm distraught. So disappointed, because he's a terrible actor. He just is objectively a bad actor. he was fine in this movie. He wasn't distracting. I mean, none of the voice acting is great, if I'm being honest, like none of them are good.
No.
So he didn't really stand out as particularly bad. He also doesn't talk a lot. So it was kind of it was fine. I was pleasantly surprised that Keanu Reeves didn't ruin the movie for me.
I do wish Shadow had a bit more screen time, even if it was just talking. That's just, again, the nostalgia fanboy in me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, Keanu didn't really excite me one way or another. I just figured, it's Keanu, you know.
It is what it is.
He has some mysterious roles at times, and he's in right now.
It's interesting because I did complain about the second one that I was like, the humans became their own plot line and it felt detached from everything, and I just got so annoyed every time they cut to them. This movie went the exact opposite direction and practically cut the humans out. Obviously, other than Dr. Eggman and his, lackey. But like this, you forgot James Marsden was in the movie multiple times. They really were just like, okay, and they're over here doing their thing.
They really have phased them out over the 3 movies.
Good.
I didn't expect it as much. They have their couple of moments, but then very quickly it gets a little too hot for humans.
Yeah. Watching it, like thinking about the filmmaking process, you're like, maybe we were there for like a week. Like, because every time, all their scenes are, they just run on like, oh, what's happening? Okay, wow. And then that's it. And you're like, well, I hope they got paid because they didn't have any fun doing this, I'm sure. You know what they really cut out that I was disappointed about? There was not one mention of Olive Garden. What the hell? Olive Garden was a main character in the last one. Or was it the first one?
It was the first one.
And there was not one damn mention of Olive Garden. We went to some Japanese restaurant instead. What the hell?
That was so freaking just in your face. It's Olive Garden.
Because when you're there, your family.
Oh my God.
And this isn't a spoiler because it was in the trailers. But man, Jim Carrey had a good time with this movie, playing 2 roles, playing Dr. Eggman and his grandfather. It was phenomenal. Like, I thought Jim Carrey improved from movie 1 to movie 2. This was like, granted, not every joke landed, but this was the funniest Jim Carrey's been in a long time. I enjoyed it so much, dude. It was so like nostalgic seeing him go, and like there was a couple references. He referenced the Grinch at one point with one of the lines that was really bad, and they referenced, I felt like they kind of referenced a series of unfortunate events a little bit, but maybe that's just like sometimes he kind of like, when he puts on a voice, sometimes he accidentally kind of melds his old characters into his new characters, so maybe Count Olaf wasn't intentional, but it was there. But regardless, he made me laugh every time he was on screen. Every single time. I had so much fun with him. Frankly, the rest of the movie just felt like waiting for Jim Carrey to be back.
Yeah, for me, mostly this movie was anytime Jim Carrey was on screen and Shadow. I don't know how close Jim Carrey's Eggman is to the comic. Doesn't feel that close. But hilarious.
But
he's always been
fantastic.
Hilarious throughout the films.
Yeah, and he was the best in this.
It's amazing what you can get when Jim Carrey can play off Jim Carrey.
Yeah. It's amazing how that's never happened before. He's never played 2 characters in the same movie somehow.
I'm actually shocked about that.
Yeah, coming up from that era of like the 90s.
Yeah, that just makes a lot
comedians. Eddie Murphy did it. Adam Sandler did it. All those guys did it. And Jim Carrey, I don't think he ever did it before. And it's like, how did that not happen? And they even say it to the camera at one point. It's like, we look identical. It's like we're 2 different characters played by the same actor. Yeah, but no, I agree. Even when I was a fan of Sonic, I was never a fan, like I said, because of Sonic. It was the side characters, and so it kind of feels faithful in that way, where watching this, I'm like, yeah, Sonic, whatever. I want to see the other guys, and so I can't be mad at this movie for making me feel that way, because I've always felt that way about Sonic. He's kind of annoying, and I'm just like, all right, cool, whatever. Don't care.
It's where they go golden, supersonic, or whatever the heck it's called.
Yeah.
And that's about all I really cared about from him.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a fun movie. To me, like I said, definitely the best of the 3.
Yeah.
This is the first one, and granted, it's not like it's a great movie, but this is the first one I'd give a positive rating out of the bunch. I gave the first one a 4. I gave the second one a 5. I'm giving this one a 6.
Damn, I feel like I enjoyed
Yeah, there's more than that.
Yeah, not by much, but
Sure.
like maybe points on each, and then reverse that because I preferred 1 over 2.
Yeah.
But I give this one a 7, and that is a lot of nostalgia speaking.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That is a lot of nostalgia speaking.
as much as I enjoyed this. It's not a well-made movie.
No, but it hit. Especially that beginning couple of scenes with Shadow just hit all the nostalgia bones.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the script writing is very contrived. They do things just to have done them. Like, there's no real explanation for anything. And it's like, even Shadow's backstory, which is like really important, you're given the Cliff Notes version of it, it kind of feels like, because everything is just a means to an end. But like I said, I enjoyed the ride the whole time, though. So I can't really be mad. Like, no, it's not a great movie. It's not going to be in my top 10 list. It's not going to win any awards. I don't care. I enjoyed myself, and I was just like so happy the entire time, and especially with Jim Carrey. Like I said, that's what I felt nostalgic about. Like, sure, I'm nostalgic for Sonic and all of that's cool, but like, when was the last time you went to a Jim Carrey movie in theaters and it was actually enjoyable and good? Like, because all he's done recently is Sonic movies. The last time he had a good movie in theaters was like a decade ago. And so I was like, damn, like I feel like a kid again. Like I'm like excited that he's on screen, and I'm like, I was having such a good time. I love Jim Carrey, so that's why I really had a good time with him more than anything.
See, this movie just hits all the nostalgia. The 10-year-old in us both loved it. The adult in us, it was all right.
Well, okay, 10 years ago I was not 10 years old, just saying.
Still, the 10-year-old in us.
I was 19.
The game came out in 2005, so.
Okay, there you go. If you know Shadow's origin story, all I'll say is, it's not 100% accurate, but it's more accurate than I thought it would be. There were certain elements that I was afraid they were going to kind of skirt around because, you know, it's a kid's movie, and this one had a few darker elements than the other ones did, and I was grateful that they went that way. I'll also say there's some pretty interesting, or I'll say one very interesting mid-credit scene, so stick around for that, because that's very interesting. More characters being introduced, and that got the whole room screaming
a zoo.
I
have not heard a crowd pop like that since
Endgame.
Yeah, basically Endgame.
Literally.
That was insane. I did not know the Sonic love was that strong out there.
I haven't heard a reaction that loud since Captain America caught the hammer.
Yeah, no.
Literally.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
That was huge. And this was huge.
Yeah. But shouldn't have been. I mean, granted, it's big, but it's the 4th Sonic movie they're teasing. Like, come on, all right.
But those things that happened.
Yes, cool. If I had one complaint, and this is maybe it's just my my critical eye looking out for the Illuminati and gross things in Hollywood.
Nice.
What was with the amount of time they spent focusing the camera on the little girl's feet? That was fucking weird.
See, I watched too much Nickelodeon television as a kid. I'm too desensitized to it.
It was Nickelodeon level. It felt like her introduction scene. They're like, "Take off those shoes," and you're like,
"Yeah, I did."
And then the very next shot is her walking in with the camera trained solely on her feet.
Yeah,
and then for
true.
the rest of the movie, unless it mattered for the plot, she did not have shoes on. And I was like, "That's uncomfy." Granted, she's supposed to be like a 10-year-old and she's played by somebody older, but I still don't think she was of age. And so, one, it's weird to sexualize feet in a movie, period. 2, it's a kid. Even more uncomfy. So that made me weirded out. That's my major complaint for anybody who's Illuminati afraid.
We gotta go back and find out if we see Quentin on that cast list at the end.
Well, Quentin, for his weird things, doesn't sexualize kids. I'll give him that.
Sure.
And it's a thing. Okay, before I say sexualize kids, it's not overtly sexualizing, but if you take showing feet as something sexual, then therefore it is.
Again, after too much Nickelodeon television, it's clearly something sexual when there's so much feet.
All right, so
It's just-
Maria was played by somebody named Elia Brown. And holy shit, she was born in 2010, so she's 2 years old.
Damn.
No, so she's 14. Yeah, weird, uncomfy.
Yeah.
Don't want to focus too much on that and ruin the movie for you, but that was weird to me.
Yeah, that's gonna be a hard one to not see on the next reviewing.
Yeah.
I'll just stick to the Shadow scenes. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Frankly,
no, I
yeah.
guess
Just give me a
Shadow scene.
compilation
Damn it.
of Shadow and Dr. Eggman, and I'm good.
Yeah.
That's all I need to see again. Forget Sonic. Sonic, who? Yeah. But so to end on a good note, a lot of fun, very funny movie. Jim Carrey was great. I thought the voice acting was fine. You know, like I said, not a Keanu Reeves fan, but it was passable. Ben Schwartz was all of them are passable.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like I said, it's a little bit darker than the other two, but it's like nothing that's too heavy for a kid. Like I think all the kids there were fine. And it's like it's one of those movies that you know, for kids, it kind of has them like deal with something a little bit heavier, but it's something all kids can handle. So.
Yeah, I feel like each one of them has had its heaviness. There's some trauma that each of them have that's kind of heavy for younger kids. You would think. I don't know when what age parents start to acknowledge that side of things with kids.
Sure.
But this dwells on it the most, I would say, and that makes sense with Shadow's backstory.
Right, and even aside from that, though, correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't seen the other two in a minute. This was the first one that characters died in, I think. Like, there was people who outright died in this movie. And I was like, oh, like, in fight scenes, like, that person just died. Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember anyone dying explicitly in the second one. Definitely not the first one.
Yeah. So I don't think they'd done that before. And I was just like, oh, when it happened, I was like, wait, really? We did that? Okay, I guess. Yeah. But no, anyway. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. Like I said, best of the three to me, and it's not particularly close. So I do recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Sonic or Jim Carrey. Have a good time. Have some fun with it. We are going to get into spoilers now, though, so if you don't want anything spoiled for whatever reason, click away, go watch it, and then come back and we can talk about it later. But don't forget to like, share, if you're new here, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye. So, spoilers. Like I said, plot doesn't matter. They cut the moon in half.
Yeah,
not literally half, like they cut a third off of it, and then they're just like, okay. Like there's a joke about it, like, what did you do? And then they never address it again, like, oh, we gotta save people's lives. Like, okay, if the moon's crashing into the world and killing a bunch of people, and then also the gravitational pull is now going to be completely altered and different, who knows what's gonna happen? We need to fix this.
You see. They should have showed us this, but it's implied that obviously that both halves are like floating next to each other in their own gravitational pull. Yeah, of course. And we should have seen that in the distance. The night sky, maybe all of them lying out with. Well, I guess we're in spoilers, but Shadow wasn't there at the time, so I guess he couldn't lie out with them. Oh. Maybe he's somewhere else staring up at the same moon or some shit.
Same moons.
Yes.
That's the plot of the fourth one. The plot of the fourth one is the extreme hurricanes and tsunamis happening because the moon has completely shifted orbit, and Sonic has to save the world from mass destruction.
We need to launch you four into space and have you tie the moon back together.
I expected that to be part of Dr. Robotnik's like character arc there, redemption arc, was fixing the moon, like making like nanotech fill the rest of the moon up, so like the moons have nanobots now or something. That's what I thought was gonna happen, and nope.
If he comes back in the fourth one like we all assume he's going to,
he's gotta.
I guess that could be something they do there.
Yeah,
I assume it'll be broken. However much time is supposed to have passed in between.
Because they're just like cut the moon in half with a laser.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, like what? But then, also just one of the darker elements that they kept harping on was they were showing their plan of breaking into this base, and every plan that went wrong resulted in Sonic dying a horrible death. And I was like, we just keep saying this, Jesus. And then when they actually do go to break in, this is where the plot doesn't matter at all. There's this shield that you cannot get through. It will evaporate you, which is what happens to Eggman Sr. And I was like, holy shit, when that happened, he just straight up died.
Yeah.
But Sonic, is waiting for them to get the shield down so he can run it. And then they're like, all right, we're about to turn the shield off. And he goes, all right. And he starts sprinting at it. And they're like, it's not down yet. And he's like, don't worry, I'm going anyway. And then next thing we know, it's already closing and he's not there yet. I'm like, well, they told him to wait. How is he too late now? But okay, he's like, I'm not gonna make it. And then the Tails comes out of nowhere, grabs him, stops him, spins around and throws him. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense for a million reasons. You stopped him, slowing him down, and I know you threw him, but are you really going to throw him faster than he was already running?
Well, listen,
he's Sonic!
Listen. As we all know, when it comes to movie and TV speedsters,
right,
they pick and choose when to use the actual speed. You see, Sonic wanted to get in there.
Yeah.
He just wasn't running that fast at the time.
Sonic was actually fairly slow throughout most of this movie.
Sonic is fairly slow throughout most of the franchise, outside of the freeze frame, let me touch everything around moments.
Yeah.
Outside of those individual moments, which you can do every single time.
Yeah.
He's so freaking slow.
Like, I pointed it out in the first one, but you weren't here for my review of it. They have a whole thing in the first one about how do we get to the top of the building. It's like, Sonic could run up the wall, maybe. I don't know. It's just they're constantly underpowering him, because if he was as powerful as he really was, every plot would be over in 2 seconds. But then the shield, like I said, it's gone back up. He gets through in the nick of time.
Yeah,
now they're doing all this stuff, and they're waiting, and they're about to lose. All right, Knuckles, get in here. Knuckles comes flying in through the wall. Shield?
Listen, he broke the glass in case of emergency.
Shield?
It was basically
Knuckles should have died. Evaporated. That's what should have happened.
Listen, his knuckles are 1,000,000% muscle, okay? So he just breaks the shield.
Even his teeth are muscles.
Yeah, we should have known that was going to happen the whole time and just gone with that plan. But,
Stupid.
Whatever.
Absolutely stupid. But yeah, that's pretty much all I really had to add. I guess we can talk about the post-credit scenes. So Amy is there, and Robot Sonic is there. What's his name?
Maybe Metal Sonic or something like that?
Metal Sonic. I forget his actual name. But the robot that looks like Sonic. My biggest disappointment is they're building up. They're building up this like thing to Metal Sonic. Oh, he's there, and then the scene keeps going. Normally, these post-credit scenes are like 10 seconds.
Yeah, this
15
one was
seconds long.
very.
It was
long.
like a minute or two, and so like I thought the reveal was gonna be, oh, he's there. But then Sonic starts fighting him, and they're fighting for a minute, and then, oh, now there's 20 of them. And you're like, okay, now it's going to cut to black. No. Then Amy comes out and kills all of the robots, and you're like, so is Metal Sonic the bad guy in the next one or not?
Yeah, I still figure he's gonna be, and like I was saying in the theater, I kind of feel like it might be an Ultron thing.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, there's a bunch of the clones, but there's still a main one that I guess is tougher than the rest, or just gets away often. I don't know how it's gonna work out, but I feel like there's gotta be a little something extra with him. But that one went on for a long time. I mean, Metal Sonic had the crowd absolutely losing their shit. And then the multiple clones of him had them losing their shit even harder. And then Amy's club comes in and they lose their shit the fucking hardest. It was wild.
Literally, like I said, it was like a zoo. It was as loud, if not louder, than Endgame was.
It was.
Granted, the audience was younger on average. There was a lot more kids here. But like,
I guess I just don't know what's going on in the Sonic world. Then I didn't know they all knew them like that.
I don't know. People were literally jumping around, throwing stuff. It was insane. But speaking of clones, because you mentioned clones, I expected there to be like a reveal there that Dr. Eggman was a clone of his grandfather, because like, so he's got a granddaughter already in Amy. Yeah. Or not Amy. Maria. Sorry, wrong person. And then there's like a couple of nods to that where like at one point he's like, I'm your grandfather, which means who did what with who? And so it's like an implication that is like nobody would fuck him. So it's like, why would he have a grandson? And granted, already he had Maria, so somebody had sex with him at some point. But like, I thought the reveal was going to be, because it kept harping on how much they looked alike and sounded alike and everything. I thought there was going to be like plot twist, he's his clone or something. And then no, they don't ever fulfill that.
They had Jim Carrey playing 2 roles.
Yeah.
The jokes just write themselves.
It was hilarious. I love there's a room full of lasers, and they're like wearing laser-proof suits, and for some reason the lasers don't hit them in the face. And
yeah, no,
he's
that
like,
was interesting.
These are perfectly laser-proof suits, so we can just dance right on through here. Like, is that a challenge? And that was a moment where I said to myself, this is the worst one of the three, but the best one of the three. Because neither of the other two, granted, they've done some dumb dance stuff with, like, I guess even Jim Carrey too, but like Sonic, whatever, they've got dumb jokes with that.
Yeah.
But that was the most over the top this franchise has been yet.
That was next
and
level.
it was glorious. And they're like lip syncing the song to each other. It was so,
yeah, that was
so
crazy.
Good. I loved that so much. I was laughing so hard. As I said, I love Jim Carrey. And in the previous two movies, sure, he made me laugh. But it's a lot of like his kid humor and stuff where it's like, it doesn't really make you laugh. You're just like, oh, that's cute. That's funny. Okay, whatever. This one had me belly laughing. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I was so happy to see Jim Carrey in a role like this again. It was so much fun. I had such a good time with him.
The power of Jim Carrey with Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Every movie he should do from now on should have at least two of them.
I'd be alright with that.
Let's have a 5 Jim Carrey movie. We'll do like what is the one with Adam Sandler's family or whatever?
Oh god, do
the Clumps with like Eddie Murphy, Jack and Jill.
Jack and Jill, yeah, that's the one. Oh god, yeah. I don't like to think about that one. I didn't watch it, but I don't like to think about those trailers.
But man, yeah, no, it was funny. Legitimately hilarious. Like I said, not every joke landed, but most of them did.
No.
There was a couple of dumb jokes. Like I said, he randomly quoted the Grinch at one point. I was like, that's a weird thing to say, but all right.
Let's talk about what we all came here for.
What?
The Shadow of the Hedgehog. Come on, man.
What else is there to say about him? We already talked about him.
Listen, I can't...
He's not dead.
I can't... Well, yeah.
Shocker.
At the end...
I'm sure Eggman isn't either. They didn't show him specifically. Probably because they don't have Jim Carrey under contract for the next one yet, but he'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. I mean...
He's got nothing else to do.
They made 3 of these. These make money, I'm assuming.
That was his interview because, he had the famous quote of like, I'm retiring unless an angel comes down with a script written in gold and hands it to me. I'm not planning on doing anything else. And he's done 2 Sonic movies since saying that. And so somebody asked him, it's like, so why? And he was like, money. I spent some money on things and I was broke.
Listen. Those scripts, they were in gold. What can I say? Some
God.
golden checks. But, seeing him on the bike with the gun flip, I'd seen that scene. Yeah. But it was still great. Seeing him ride around, I did not actually expect him to be able to shoot a gun much on screen. I didn't know how they were
It's a laser gun, so it's fun.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. That it was fine there, but I didn't quite expect it.
Yeah, no,
I did like that he was riding around shooting at Sonic.
To me, the most shocking thing was still Eggman Sr. being thrown through the disintegration ray. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't quite.
Because right before that was so goofy, he pokes him in the butt with the quill.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh, but then he just keeps going, zap, gone.
That's how strong it was.
And I was like, oh.
Supersonic quill right up the sphincter. All right, that'll launch it. That'll launch it into whatever's out there. It just happened to be a disintegration shield. Yeah, that's his own fault there. I love their little electric addiction throughout this whole movie.
It was a thing where I hated it in the first one and the second one, and for some reason the third one had won me over.
I thought
you just keep doing it and it's funny, I guess.
I thought it was so dumb at first, but they kept going and I'm like, okay, that's kind of funny.
Yeah,
it's kind of got a little addiction here. I wonder how parents like that one, but whatever. It's a little electric quill, and then they both have it. The grandfather's got it for Shadow. He's got it for. They didn't lick the super one. I thought that was gonna supercharge them a little bit. I
forgot the VR scene where he's imagining their best day together. Was hilarious,
Listen,
dude.
I have loved the partnership between Eggman and his little henchman. They have been pretty good as Eggman and his punching bag that loves him, and. Their clearly not coded relationship in this movie was next level. I loved watching his pain, the little henchman's pain, at getting left out of everything.
Oh, but it was just hilarious. That just Jim Carrey's interaction with himself was so funny. I loved every second of that. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See ya.